It was the lifeblood of ancient empires, a river whose story is woven into prophecies thousands of years old. And now, it's vanishing. The legendary Euphrates, a name that thunders through history, is shockingly running dry. But hold on, this isn't just an environmental tragedy. What's clawing its way out of the parched, cracked earth where this mighty river once flowed? It's sending shivers down spines across the globe. We're not talking about just mud and stones here. We're talking about discoveries that could literally rewrite what we thought we knew about our past. And maybe, just maybe, our future. For millennia, the Euphrates River carved its way through the heart of civilization. What we now know as Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. This wasn't just any river, it was the cradle of Mesopotamia. The very birthplace of empires like Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon. Its waters made the Fertile Crescent bloom, turning dry lands into rich fields, fueling trade, and watching as writing, laws, and incredible societies first came to be. The river even flowed right through mighty Babylon itself, a testament to its life-giving power. Ancient cities we read about, Sippar, Uruk, Mari, they all thrived on its banks, their fates tied to its currents. But that ancient lifeline? It's fading, fast. Here we are, mid-2025. And the Euphrates is facing a crisis like never before. Iraq's water reserves have hit an 80-year low. Syria is staring down one of the worst water shortages in its modern history. The river's flow in some spots has dropped to less than 200 cubic meters per second. A massive drop from the 500 cubic meters per second Turkey agreed to back in 1987. This once mighty river, so important it's mentioned in the book of Genesis, is now just a shadow of what it was. For many, its decline is a chilling visual, a prophecy unfolding right before their eyes. Some reports are even warning it could be completely dry by 2040. This isn't some far-off problem, it's happening now, and it's picking up speed. As the waters pull back, the Euphrates is giving up secrets it has held onto for thousands of years. That dry riverbed? It's becoming an archaeologist's paradise. And a global jaw-dropper.
This book is your beginner's guide to understanding Scripture. Find peace, build relationships, and discover purpose in today's world. Ready to decode the Bible? Find Bible Decoded available on Amazon now.
Entire ancient cities, swallowed by water and time, are now rising from the mud and silt. Imagine this, the lost city of Zikiku, which archaeologists call Kemion. This was a major city in the Mitanni Empire, way back around 1550 to 1350 BCE. And now, they're digging it up. Archaeologists have found palace walls, huge fortifications, buildings several stories high, and even industrial areas. And the craziest part? These structures are incredibly well preserved. Almost like the water protected them, giving us an amazing look into an ancient empire we knew so little about. Further downriver, as Lake Assad, Syria's biggest reservoir, fed by the Euphrates, shrinks, more ancient settlements are reappearing. They've found the remains of nearly 80 sites, including jails and cemeteries from the ancient city of Telba. It's like new chapters of the region's rich history are being written right now. But maybe the most incredible thing is the discovery of hundreds of cuneiform tablets. These are clay tablets, covered in that wedge-shaped script from ancient Mesopotamia, the world's first known writing system. And they're emerging. Many still readable after thousands of years underwater. They tell us about daily life, business deals, laws, and religious beliefs. It's like a direct phone line to these ancient people. This stuff is literally rewriting history, giving us the unfiltered story of the societies that shaped our world. Locals have even been stumbling upon pieces of pottery, old tools, and building ruins, which then spark bigger digs. There are even reports of villagers finding gold artifacts, coins, jewelry, and temple decorations from forgotten empires like Babylon and Assyria, just glittering in the cracked mud. One find that's really grabbed everyone's attention is something people are calling the Euphrates Tunnel. Videos are flying around online showing a man pointing to this structure, with perfectly arranged stairs leading underground. and it looks remarkably intact. What exactly is it? Where did it come from? That's still being investigated and debated. Some think it could be part of ancient city works, or maybe even tied to local legends. It just shows you how much could still be hidden down there. Wikipedia even mentions a legendary tunnel under the Euphrates that was supposedly built to connect the two halves of Babylon. Something that was never confirmed until, perhaps, now? For millions of people around the world, the Euphrates drying up isn't just about archaeology or the environment. It's a massive spiritual sign, one that echoes prophecies buried deep in Abrahamic religions.
Feeling anxious or disconnected? Ready for a deeper faith journey designed just for you? Discover Bible Study for Black Women. This guide nurtures faith, strength, and growth week by week. Overcome fear and connect with God. This empowering journey is waiting. Find Bible Study for Black Women on Amazon today and start building unshakable faith.
The one you hear about most is from the book of Revelation in the Christian Bible, Revelation 16 verse 12. The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. For many believers, seeing the river shrink so dramatically right now is a literal fulfillment of this ancient prophecy. They see it as a sign that the world is heading towards what they understand as the end times, not just some random environmental disaster, but something set in motion by a higher power. And this idea gets even stronger when you think about how important this river is, historically and symbolically. The Euphrates is mentioned way back in the book of Genesis, marking the edges of the promised land given to Abraham. The fact that it pops up again in Revelation, tied to major end-of-the-world events, makes it way more than just a line on a map. Some interpretations even link the drying river to the release of 4 angels who are said to be bound there. Angels who are prophesied to play a big role in end-time events, as mentioned in Revelation 9 verse 13 to 19. Islamic tradition also talks about the Euphrates drying up to reveal a mountain of gold. The prophecy says people will fight over this gold, and a hadith states that 99 out of every 100 will die in the battle. The Prophet Muhammad is reported to have said, "The hour will not come to pass before the river Euphrates dries up to unveil the mountain of gold, for which people will fight. Whoever sees it should not take anything from it." Those recent discoveries of gold artifacts, even if it's not a whole mountain, definitely add another layer of intrigue for people who follow these prophecies. But, of course, not everyone sees it this way. Theologians and scholars offer a bunch of different interpretations. Some warn against taking current events as direct, literal fulfillments of prophecy, pointing out that biblical passages can be symbolic in that, hey, environmental crises have happened before throughout history. They remind us that the focus should be on being spiritually ready, not on trying to predict dates. Still, you can't deny it, watching this iconic river visibly shrink is a powerful and pretty sobering thing for a lot of people. Okay, let's step back from prophecy and archaeology for a moment. The drying Euphrates is, right now, an environmental and humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. It's a brutal showcase of human impact and a changing climate. What's causing it? Well, it's a grim combination of 3 things. First up, climate change. We're talking less rain, longer droughts, and scorching temperatures across the region. All of this means less water feeding the river and more of it evaporating away. Syria, for instance, has seen temperatures jump by 1 degree Celsius compared to a century ago, and rainfall has dropped off significantly. The whole area is battling exceptional drought. Second, upstream damming. Since the 70s and 80s, Turkey and, to a lesser degree, Syria have built a whole lot of big dams. The most famous is the Southeastern Anatolia Project, GAP, in Turkey, which includes the absolutely massive Ataturk Dam. Now, these dams generate power and provide water for areas upstream, but they've also seriously choked the flow of water down into Syria and Iraq. Iraq, for example, says it's getting less than 40% of the water it expects from the Tigris, and it's a similar story with the Euphrates. Syria claims the water flow from Turkey sometimes drops to as low as 200 to 250 cubic meters per second, way below what was agreed upon. And third, water mismanagement. For decades, there's been massive overuse for farming. Agriculture sucks up about 70% of the river's water. Add to that inefficient irrigation and no real coordinated plan between the countries for sharing the water, and you've pushed the whole river system to its breaking point. The consequences? They're devastating. Millions of people in Iraq and Syria depend on the Euphrates for drinking water. And its decline is now a threat to their very existence. Water shortages are forcing governments to choose between water for drinking and water for farming, which means a huge drop in irrigated farmland. In Syria's eastern provinces, the amount of cultivated land shrank by as much as 37% in just one season compared to the year before. Farmers are walking away from their land, livelihoods are vanishing, and food security is looking grim. Hydroelectric power has been crippled too. The Euphrates Dam in Syria, for example, has had its electricity output slashed, sometimes down to just a couple of hours of power a day, and has even been at risk of shutting down completely. And it doesn't stop there. The environmental damage hits biodiversity hard. Fish species are disappearing as the smaller rivers and streams dry up. Plant life along the riverbanks is dying. Those drying river branches and lakes? They're starting to stink and are breeding grounds for more insects, which means a higher risk of waterborne diseases like cholera, especially for communities that rely directly on the river. Endangered species, like the Euphrates soft-shell turtle, are in even more trouble as their homes disappear. The entire ecosystem, this cradle of life for thousands of years, is basically unraveling before our eyes. So, what is this that has truly emerged from the vanishing Euphrates? It's not just one single artifact, or one lone prophecy. It's the shocking, undeniable meeting point of several critical truths, all exposed by the retreating waters. It's that sudden, real connection to a deep, almost mythical past. Ancient cities, grand imperial structures, the actual words of civilizations long gone, they're physically reappearing, forcing us to rethink our history. This isn't some dusty academic debate, these are the foundations of human civilization surfacing right in front of us. It's the chilling echo of ancient prophecies. No matter what your personal beliefs are, watching this biblical river dry up, an event foretold thousands of years ago, is undeniably powerful. And the timing, with all the global instability right now, makes these ancient warnings feel incredibly relevant to millions. It's the rock-solid evidence of a planet in trouble. The Euphrates is like the canary in the coal mine for global water scarcity and climate change. Its death is a gut-punch demonstration of how our actions, building dams, unsustainable farming, pumping out carbon emissions are pushing vital natural systems to the brink, with horrifying consequences for people. And maybe the deepest this is the realization of how connected everything is. The environmental crisis is fueling humanitarian disasters. Those disasters are inflaming tensions over shrinking resources, a really big deal in a region already tangled in conflict. The archaeological finds are sparking debates about who we are and where we come from. And the prophetic interpretations? They add a layer of what does this all mean for humanity to the whole situation. The stories about a mysterious tunnel, whispers of strange sounds, or even claims in online videos about giant chains or skeletons being unearthed, though many of these need a lot more scientific proof. They all tap into this global feeling of unease and wonder. Whether it's a perfectly preserved Mitanni palace, a cuneiform tablet spelling out ancient laws, or just the harsh reality of a once fertile valley turning to desert, the Euphrates is speaking. It's showing us that the past isn't really buried, that ancient words can still shake the present, and that what we do to our environment has huge, far-reaching effects. What's emerged is a critical moment. A point where history, prophecy, and a massive environmental crisis are just impossible to ignore. The drying of the Euphrates isn't just a local problem, it's sending shockwaves around the world, making us all confront some pretty big implications. Historically, this archaeological gold rush is totally reshaping how we understand Mesopotamian civilizations. The Mitanni Empire, and the complicated way early cities worked. These discoveries are giving us direct evidence of ancient technology, how their societies were built, and what they believed, filling in huge gaps in our knowledge of how humans developed. Just the sheer number of cuneiform tablets alone will keep researchers busy for decades, promising brand new insights. For the future, what's happening to the river is a serious warning. It drives home the catastrophic potential of climate change and how badly we can mess things up with unsustainable water use. The suffering of millions who rely on the Euphrates is a terrifying preview of what could happen in other river basins around the globe if we don't get our act together, and fast. It screams for international cooperation on water resources, something that's becoming more and more vital in our warming world. The fight for less and less water is already making things worse between Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. A stark reminder that water can easily become a source of conflict. There have been some glimmers of hope, like an agreement in early 2025 between Iraq and Turkey to let more water flow, but the long-term picture still looks pretty worrying. Spiritually and culturally, this whole thing is making a lot of people think. For those who see prophecy coming true, it strengthens their beliefs and makes them feel a sense of urgency. For others, it's a moment to really ponder our relationship with nature, how fragile civilizations can be, and how the past keeps echoing into today. Losing the Euphrates as a living, breathing waterway also means losing precious ecosystems and the cultural heritage tied to the river. The traditional ways of life for communities that have depended on this river for generations are vanishing, and with them, a whole library of local knowledge and traditions. The shockwaves are about realizing that what happens to a river far away isn't just some isolated event. It reflects global trends, shows our shared weaknesses, and calls for us all to take responsibility. The Euphrates is holding up a mirror, and what we see in it is a complex picture of our past, our present, and a very uncertain future. The story of the Euphrates is still being written, with new discoveries and changes happening all the time. What do you think about these incredible revelations? Do you see the hand of history at work, the shadow of prophecy, or a stark environmental alarm bell? Or maybe, it's all three? Share your theories and thoughts in the comments below. What do you believe is the most significant thing about the Euphrates drying up? And if you found this journey into the heart of the matter compelling, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more explorations of the mysteries and critical issues shaping our world. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you don't miss what we uncover next. The Euphrates River, once a symbol of plenty and the cradle of civilization, is now, in a strange twist, revealing more in its absence than it ever did when it was full. As its waters fade, they're exposing ancient cities, sparking debates about prophecy, and laying bare an environmental crisis that the whole world needs to pay attention to. The startling truths coming out of its dry bed are a mix of archaeology, faith, and a pressing ecological warning. The river has given up some of its secrets, but the biggest question is still hanging in the air. Are we, as a global community, ready to listen to the profound, and maybe unsettling, truths these discoveries tell us about our shared past, our fragile present, and the critical choices we absolutely have to make for the future? The silence of the drying Euphrates speaks volumes, and its message is one we ignore at our own risk.